Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode 208 of the Thoughtium Navigating Now virtual roundtable series. I'm Anthony Ewing, CEO here at Thoughtium, and I am joined by two of our very best here as part of the Thoughtium team, Nicole Deal, senior consultant, Griff Krenbrink, partner here at Thoughtium. And as we always say, this is an agile platform. This is a platform where we commit to going live to you all, our community, every Thursday. And this Thursday, we unfortunately had a guest that had to reschedule, but that means the show goes on. And that means that we have an opportunity to share what's new here at Thoughtium and a couple of updates from our business, from our great offerings that we bring to our clients, and from our community. So Nicole, Griff, you with me?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So why don't we start with just a little bit of an update on our business. 2024 has been an incredibly inspiring year for the team. It's also been one of tremendous growth. And we're standing here towards the end of the year looking back and saying, wow, like this organization has evolved so much in the past 11 months. So Nicole, share a little bit about kind of what's new here at Thoughtium from your perspective, and tell us a little bit about what we're doing this week particularly.
I'll start with our mission, if I may. So we designed and deliver human-centered experiences, and I've been seeing the human-centered element show up a lot in the work that we're doing. Specifically with one global organization, we're supporting their leaders through a development program that not only helps them become better leaders at work, but also leaders out in the world. So we talk a lot about how their leadership might show up, in their day-to-day. What are maybe their reactive tendencies? Are they natural controllers, compliers? That stuff shows up outside of work too. And we have the platform to talk about it and the space for it.
That's great. I love that. Yeah, we're constantly innovating the offerings that we're bringing to our clients, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. I'll pass the mic over to Griff. And Griff, as the Chief Commercial Officer, you kind of oversee the evolution and the growth of not just our team, but our business. As you look back over the course of the last 11 months, what's changed the most for you?
Oh man, what's changed the most in terms of the business?
Yeah.
For me,
Sure.
Personally?
The business, yeah. Or you personally?
I would say I think this isn't so much a net new change as it is maybe an acceleration. I think we're really seeing many more what I might call like long-standing client relationships we're committing to them, they're committing to us for sort of the foreseeable future. And I think, we've had a business model for most of our existence that has relied on continuing to bring more and more people to the table. And I don't think we want to lose sight of that. But I think it's been really amazing to see, particularly in the last 12 to 18 months, the number of clients and customers we've seen who are excited to work with us yesterday, today, into the future. And I think that gives you a lot of confidence that not only are we doing really good work together, but we're building amazing trust and relationships with one another, and ultimately doing amazing things together.
Yeah.
And when you get to solve an organization's, or you get to be part of the solve of organization's biggest problems, I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah, I love that. It's a challenge that we're just over 8 years here at Thoughtium, and it's a challenge that we've been excited to take on year over year, is to find more sustainable relationships and long-term relationships with our clients. And we've had a few that date back to day one. But what Griff's mentioning is that we're doing some bigger work with clients, more scalable work. We're impacting more folks within our client organizations. Griff, maybe how have we gotten there with a few of our clients? Like what has allowed us to strike these longer term relationships? What has allowed our clients to trust Thoughtium to bring bigger, more scaled offerings to their organizations?
Well, it's not luck, and it's not just being suave in sales and proposal conversations. I think first off, it's building trust through credibility and reliability. I think we talk a lot about at Thoughtium the idea that good work is your best indicator for future opportunities, and that's no less true today than it has been since we have been doing this work together. I will say one of the things that I think we've really done a good job of continuing to strike the balance around is innovation and provocatively going after solving challenges with continuing to build tried and true approaches, processes, things that we can do in a replicable fashion. And that balance is something that every organization has to find their right North Star on. But I think we've really pushed ourselves. In some cases, we've been very innovative. We've been very provocative. It's worked out really nicely for us. In some cases, we've recognized we have a bunch of a really good thing, and let's go really hard on that thing. And I think it's good for us as business leaders and stewards and trusted advisors of our clients to let them know like when we're being provocative and innovative and when we're maybe doing something that's more tried and true. And I think that honesty and that transparency is huge.
I love that. Nikki D, add to that.
So Grift brought up that we are serving our clients as business stewards, trusted advisors. I think what he's also getting at is the hat that we wear in our dynamics are not just shifting, but they're growing. Sometimes we walk into a conversation, we need to wear the consultant hat, or sometimes they need coaching, or they need us to show up in a partnership dynamic. So how we show up is evolving, and that's really cool to see across the team.
Yeah. I'll also add, one of the things that we have really focused on this year is bringing what we call new required skills to our client organizations. And we say that these are almost universal skills that are really, really in need in every role within a commercial organization. Skills like agility, influence, resilience, storytelling. These are universal skills. We don't call them soft skills because they're applicable in your day-to-day. And the way that we design these experiences is that people can learn these skills and then they can apply them specifically to their role. But what we're learning is that once we bring these skills, one of our workshops by the name of situational intelligence is a perfect example. When we bring situational intelligence to a small group within an organization, and it goes really well, which it typically does, the organization says, these are universal skills that everybody should have. And that has allowed us to scale these offerings within organizations. Because we are really of the mind that there are certain skills that everybody should have. There are common languages that can be established across organizations. So that's one thing that I've been really excited about as well, too, is that our organizations are now asking us to do bigger and better things. And as Grift mentioned, we do good work relates and results in more good work. So kudos to the Thoughtium team, the entire Thoughtium team for the growth that we've seen here this past year. We've also introduced some new offerings as well, too. And Nicole, I know that you've been at the forefront of a new offering that we're launching here just next month with one of our client organizations. The name of this offering is Motivational Intelligence, and it's something that is so near and dear to my heart as a leader and a people manager. I'd love to hear a little bit about motivational intelligence. What was the impetus and how are we bringing it to our clients?
Yeah. So motivation, it's one of those things that we all have intrinsically, but it's deeply personal. Yet organizations are looking for a common language to talk about motivation and to provide some best practices or strategies to get to that deeper personal level around it. So with this organization, we're coming in to help a set of leaders identify what are intrinsic drivers within their team. This is inspired by Daniel Pink's model. If you haven't read the book Drive, 10 out of 10 recommend. We know that intrinsic drivers, compensation, recognition, these are all great ways to motivate people, but oftentimes it's good for the short term and it's not good for long-term motivation. Yeah. And it doesn't fit the bill for more of our creative sort of roles that we have, which is kind of what our day-to-day is operating in. Like extrinsic drivers were so good for more of our, they call them algorithmic roles or roles where there's very routine and set objectives. So we're recognizing that doesn't fit the bill anymore. We need to get closer to intrinsic drivers and not just give leaders a common language to identify what those intrinsic drivers are for themselves, but also feel equipped to help their team members identify it and then actually put that into practice.
Yeah. And I love this. This is what's supporting our clients in elevating the performance of their teams. We have a client that is working to integrate this motivational intelligence and these drivers into their standard performance management kind of protocol and structure and templates. So this is so far from just a workshop. This is a framework and a tool that you can bring to really guide and lead your teams and your organizations. All of these examples that we give, situational intelligence, motivational intelligence, they all cut at the heart of who we are as humans within the workplace. And we've been talking a lot about the fact that we are more and more becoming a human-centric design and facilitation firm. And Grift, nobody better to explain when my uncle comes to me at Thanksgiving in a couple weeks and says, "What the heck does it mean that you design and deliver human-centric experiences?" How would you bring that to the naked ear, if you will?
Leave it to, I guess you always want to throw me the existential, right. The meta-based questions. I think there's probably like a complicated way to introduce it, but I think the best way is just to be really simple and say, like, what we know to be true is that people's lives change through experience. You remember your life through the lens of experience. Everything you've ever done differently or chosen to do differently happened in the lens of an experience. And therefore, every experience we want to put you through that is taught to help you do something more of, less of, the same amount of, needs to be in the lens of experience. So human beings experiencing things to do things differently or more of. That is human-centered experiences. So what does that mean for us is we have to truly put the people that we are going to be putting through any type of experience at the center of the design process. Who are they? Where are they? What are they going through? What have they gone through in the past? Where do we want them to go? And all of this is sort of your first step, right? When we say human-centered, it might be a little bit of like if we look at more as like a linear fashion, it's like human first design. So we're always putting human beings at the front, and everything you learn or everything you talk about in that step of the experience build process should come back to what you know about these particular humans who are going to be part of whatever you're doing. I think the other thing, maybe to get a little, not provocative, but let's just say like even more clarity, add a little bit more clarity to what I think it really matters when you talk about human-centric is I think of like two currencies that exist in the ability to drive really good experience are disruption and joy. And I think every good experience has moments of disruption, like pause moments where you're like, whoa, I never thought about it that way. Or, whoa, this is a new way to do something that has a whole different output. And then joy is like, you remember the things that you liked to do and you had fun and it was exciting around. And I think too often we think about learning or training or enablement as like check the box, like get everyone up the same page. It's like, what about having fun doing it? Like, what about making it engaging and exciting and a little bit of like mystery and intrigue? And I think if you come back and you ask yourself what human-centered is, if you can really lean into the ideas of disruption and joy, you find that like you actually, every single one of us has the ability to build experiences like this.
Yeah. I love that. And it's almost as if the last couple years have really been kind of pushing us and guiding us to this point where we're at right now, where our client organizations are putting such a premium on these great experiences. You think of, the 3 years that we have recently come out of where everything was virtual, and we were really pushing the limits in terms of how to connect people virtually. This year, more than ever, it's swung completely back into organizations wanting to invest very deeply in these very intrinsic human experiences, oftentimes face-to-face. So we have a lot of client organizations they're doing less face-to-face still, but when they do get an entire team or an organization together, they really want to make it a great experience. And it's almost like Thoughtium was specifically designed for this moment when we have clients coming to us saying, hey, for the last 30 years, we were doing the same pipe and drape dog and pony show for our offsites or our national sales meetings. We have people more excited to get together now once a year versus 6 or 7 times a year than ever before. And what does great look like when it comes to gathering people and having people really collaborate on things like innovation? What installs or injects a sense of joy into this meeting that we couldn't get sitting in rows of desks with a sage on stage and pipe and drape with slides? And again, this is really our moment. I really feel like this is our moment here at Thoughtium because we're helping our organizations see the human side of gathering in person. the human side of a national sales meeting or a large commercial event, the human side of 6 or 7 leaders going off site for a day and a half to develop their strategy. And so you'll be hearing a lot more about how we continue to drive the human-centered experience in everything that we do. Nicole, anything to add? Because I know that you're maybe one of the more human-centric people when it comes to your coaching style, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think it's going one step beyond having leaders see the benefit of in person. They're actually feeling it, and they're recognizing you can't replicate the connection, the collaboration that you feel in person. While there's so many benefits to having the virtual implications, they are recognizing in the moments that matter most, in the times when we really need to get the team together for certain training and development opportunities, it can't be replicated. It needs to happen in person. And that is where the magic happens, when you're together.
Love that.
Can I maybe build on that? I think something you called out. Well, first off, do you think some of our younger viewers know what pipe and drape is? We'll have to maybe
just
tell us in the comments what pipe and drape is.
If you're a comment below.
Yeah, yes. quick quiz.
If you are millennial or older.
But I think maybe like I want to add like a layer of just like, I don't want to say it's a challenge, but I think a lot of times we talk about some of the stuff around like human-centered experience design and making these amazing experiences. And I don't want people to think that like you can't have an amazing experience in like a boring conference room with old school technology. Like sometimes we use that stuff as crutches for why an experience can't be great. And I will tell you firsthand experience, like some of the best experiences I've either facilitated or been a part of have been in like basement conference rooms with no windows or like at tables with, placemats from the 1980s. And I think it's really just like sometimes we can lean into these experiential elements that we think are going to be the make or breaks, and they're helpful. But like at the end of the day, again, come back to what you're designing the experience around. Yeah. And it's human beings. Yeah. And if you continue to recognize that, and one thought is just like, those things can be challenges, but they should never be inhibitors.
Yeah. I love that point. Because as we design for a more human-centered experience, so many times it's less is more. Yeah. And here at Thoughtium, like our focus is not on, bringing a massive new technology to these experiences, or again, to your point, something that someone's never seen before. Oftentimes it's actually just stripping it down to, putting the right people together around the right conversation with the right tools to be provocative and unpack. Yeah. Sometimes it's around really just finding analog ways to bring joy to, a standard conference room or auditorium. So much to be said about the human-centered experience. It's not only in our mission, but it's truly what we live and breathe. I want to transition a little bit more into this week. For example, our whole team here is here in Chicago. Once a quarter, we bring the entire team in, and it's an opportunity for us to just work together because half of our team is sprinkled across the country to support the variety of our clients. And when we get together, it's a wonderful way to work, yes, but it's also an opportunity for us to start to co-create the future of Thoughtium. And Grift, this week alone, I've heard so many big ideas in terms of where we can go as an organization, new offerings, how we scale our business, new positions and roles. And at the same time, after every one of these brainstorming meetings, everybody's kind of scurrying back to make sure that like the work is getting done. So it's this interesting juxtaposition of like keeping the lights on and also coming together and imagining what this incredible firm could be in 12, 18, 36 months. I'm curious, Griff, your thoughts on how do you balance, this small startup organization with massive ideas and huge aspirations with the need to, execute on a consistent basis and drive success for the firm? Another big question.
Only the big ones today. The old want to, need to paradox.
Yes.
So I think we've learned a lot of things along the way. I mean, we are one of the best things we have going for us as an organization is our just, I don't know if it's luck or just the ability to put out the right senses out into the marketplace to have brought together an amazingly talented, passionate, again, human-centered group of individuals who truly love the work that we do. I mean, again, I don't take that lightly that we have just a level of consistent passion across our team for the work that we do. That's truly a superpower to have as an
Yeah.
organization. So I think part of it is, as leaders of this firm, it's like, how do we channel that? How do we channel that in both a productive and an innovative capacity? Because I truly am a believer that, like, even sometimes it might seem like we're doing these extra things on the side and they might not be producing value yet. Like, what's the intrinsic value for people who are getting to work on those things? And some of that maybe that's called hidden opportunity or incentive or reward that people just get of, like, being able to push their passions forward. So I think sometimes you have to ask yourselves, like, is it just the business results of some of these initiatives that matter, or is it some of the cultural impact, or some of the maybe the longer term productivity or engagement you get from the fact that people are allowed to treat their work a little bit more like a playground at times? And that's not just an idea from us, right? Like, I think Google is an example of giving their people 20 to 25% of their time to do, whatever they wanted to do in the spirit of innovation. So I think it's us kind of drafting off that idea. Growing up as an organization, we're 8 years old. Is that third grade? We're going into third grade as a company. And I think we're learning, like, I just used this term to you. We're learning about how do we keep, like, a handful of shiny pennies versus a coin roll full of them. I think that's getting to a little bit more of the discipline of, like, we want to have these things that are pushing and provoking our business forward. And yet we want to continue to find ways where people who are joining our organization and just getting started in client work, they're seeing repeatable processes, they're seeing templates, they're seeing checklists, they're seeing repeatability, frankly, in the way that work can be done. So I was talking to Jonathan, who's on our team, the other day. I was talking a little bit about, like, what my vision for a perfect process of working with clients is a little bit of, like, right now we have just a massive sandbox you can go into, and it's like, there's all the tools in there, but maybe they're strewn around from, like, the kids who were playing in it earlier. And it's like, you're going to make some amazing sandcastles in that sandbox, but it's all over the place, right? Like, what if we had, like, 6 sandboxes that you went through in the process, and each one had a little bit more structure with a little bit of a guideline or a little bit more of a checklist? And so I think it's us just not losing that playful spirit, because that is what makes us as an organization, but adding a little bit more structure, prioritization, and a little bit more kind of, like, business lens to what we do.
Yeah, I love that. Question, Nicole, for you. Do you think that we have audience members out there that know what a coin roll is?
I sure hope so.
We're 2 out of 3 here. Have really dated ourselves, so it's just watch out, Nicole. As a member of a team that lives in both the clouds and the dirt, right? This juxtaposition between the big ideas and the real execution. What does that feel like for you, and what are you maybe challenged by, and how do you move about a day that could have 2 extremes?
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like there's a third. There's sand. We got clouds, dirt, and sand.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'll say it's been rewiring and a new muscle to build, switching between those altitudes and context switching between strategy and this type of project, or with this client, and then going deep in another. So I'd say how I've been navigating it is just through reps and being able to clearly outline in what part of my day am I using for divergent big space thinking versus when do I really need to execute and just, get down in the dirt.
Yep.
Yeah. Naming where does my head need to be? What does success for the day look like? And oftentimes it requires both the clouds, the dirt, and the sand.
Yeah. We have so many people that join the organization, and one of the first things that they learn is just how quickly context switches and how quickly we kind of play in different sandboxes. And I think for some folks, I think some folks require a little bit more structure, and we've been able to accommodate that as well too. But all things very, very exciting. We typically do a lightning round at the end, but I almost want to just end with one question for you both. And that is, what are you most looking forward to as we head into 2025? And Nicole, we'll start with you.
That's a good one. What I am most looking forward to, for those who don't know, we've grown our coaching capability within Thoughtium. So we have some kick-ass certified coaches on the team that weren't here a year ago. So building that as a capability and supporting the current offerings that we have and going deeper in the application and learning with individuals and within teams. Final answer.
I love that. Yes. We have a growing what we call coaching cadre here, made of certified coaches and a great bench of external partners that we can bring in and out of our offerings and extend those offerings with that one-on-one application and coaching that is ever so needed. So yeah, more coaching next year for sure. Grift, what are you looking forward to most?
Oh man, one thing. Are you going to answer as well?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, just making sure. I think just again, I feel really lucky to be part of this organization and kind of leading the charge on the work we get to do and the ways we get to kind of push ourselves and, practice in things that we know and try new things out that we don't. And I think just recognizing that like I'm going to be a different person next November than I am today. And I'm going to get all the opportunities and I'm going to be part of this team that is going to push me to learn. And I've learned, I just personally have learned so much from our team in the past year about my own style, about the ways I show up, the ways I'm helpful and not helpful. And looking forward to more of that, more doses of getting some really good feedback from our team so that I can continue to get better. Because ultimately I want to ensure that people can build amazing careers and stories here.
Yeah.
More disruption and joy.
A little bit of more of both. How about that? Disruptive joy.
We went around the room yesterday and asked all of our people leaders to describe your leadership in one word. And Grift, although it was hyphened, yours said ever evolving.
Ever evolving.
Yeah. And I think that's what you're getting at is just you so look forward to like what's next for you as a leader. And I so appreciate the way that you've evolved. I've seen 50 Shades of Grift over the course of the last 3 years here, and I look forward to so many more.
Is that the third? That's the third movie.
That's the third movie that dates us all. I'm still using 50 Shades of Grey analogies here in episode 208. I'll round us out. I'm looking forward to so much next year, but one in particular is that we are moving into our new Thoughtium headquarters here in Chicago, December 1st. And this is going to be just a wonderful step into the next phase of Thoughtium for us. We've been in a wonderful co-working space for 8 years, but we've kind of been at the throes of what, WeWork wants to do with, our space and our offices. And this was an opportunity for us to make an investment in truly creating this space for ourselves. And our new headquarters is going to be very, very special and unique, a wonderful place to work, but also a great place to gather, a great place for our clients to come and connect. And we walked through it today for the last time before we move in, and it was literally a blank slate. And it was like you could just see the possibility in this bright, open space for us to really gather as a team, to connect, to create new wonderful things for our clients, and to bring our community and our clients in. So really, really looking forward to the launch of that space in December, and we'll have a grand opening at some point in January for those folks local to Chicago. So with that, Grift, Nicole, thank you so much for joining. I'm always thrilled to facilitate and share thoughts physically alongside you both. And we look forward to continuing to bring you all perspective on a week-to-week basis. You can find this episode and others at thougtium.com/live. We'll see you all next week.